#1 exporting state in about 12 to 14 years running in the country?
No, sir.
Texas. Do you know who's been the #1 job producing state? In many years, producing more jobs than all the other lesser 49 states combined.
Should I guess? Texas?
What do we have for it, Johnny? Do you know who has the second largest environmental regulatory agency in the world?
Texas?
You got it. TCEQ.
Yep.
Serving in the Texas legislature, I served on the Environmental Regulations Committee. Do you know of how good Texas's economy is compared to the other, what I call lesser 49 states?
I do not know.
It's way up there. And finally, do you know what state has its own electric grid?
Texas does.
You're almost batting 1,000. You're doing a good job.
Don't trick me and ask me a trick question.
Texas does really, you don't want that. Texas does really well. Mr. Chairman, I have 5 articles here about the proposed rule that I'd like to submit for the record.
Without objection, so ordered.
Thank you. Administrator McCarthy, you made a statement before the Energy and Commerce Committee that the Clean Power Plan is, quote, not a pollution control strategy, end quote. Do you remember making that comment?
Where did I make that comment, sir?
In front of the Energy and Commerce Committee?
I don't.
Okay.
I don't know in what context. It's a carbon pollution.
Well, and today it's been your testimony with in your exchange with Congresswoman Clark and then also with Congressman Tomko here that we have a quote moral obligation end quote. Is that accurate?
Act on climate. Yes.
Okay. Well, so at some point you said that the EPA was not empowered by the legislation to consider cost. You said that today also. But then you come back.
No, sir, not on the carbon pollution.
Not on the carbon pollution
We actually have to consider cost.
Okay. So if you consider the costs, and I believe that this has been titled the most costliest regulation in history, okay, why is the EPA imposing these costly regulations on the American people when you admitted to the Energy and Commerce Committee it's really not about protecting the environment?
I don't know the context of that, sir, but this is not one of our most significant cost rules. It actually is enormously beneficial.
Okay. Well, let's go on then. In 2008, then Senator Obama was running, and he said, quote, and I'm quoting, under my plan, and it was of a cap-and-trade system, electricity rates will necessarily skyrocket. So, end quote. So the President is looking forward to driving up. Do you remember that comment, by the way?
I've heard other
You've heard that.
raised.
Have you seen the YouTube?
I may have.
Okay. So you know that that was on his mind to drive electricity prices up. And that, by the way, that was in January of 2008 in an interview by the San Francisco Chronicle. Now, the chairman had the U.S. Energy Information Administration do a study, and they recently came out and said that in fact, under the Clean Power Plan, electricity prices will be driven up. Are you aware of that, Administrator?
I am aware that there are studies that say that, yes.
No, but I'm talking about the Energy Information Administration. And you know they're bipartisan, and you know they don't consider cost. They just look at the facts. They're not beholden to any government agency. Is that a true fact?
That they are independent.
That's right. Thank you.
They were asked to do this.
Thank you for saying that. And you're aware that in their study they said that a family of 4 could see thousands of dollars increase in their electricity prices. I'm an air conditioning contractor, 34 years. And I'm glad to hear that there's some glad colleagues on the other side of the aisle who are glad that we're looking out for poor people. I've been in many homes in 34 years where people could not afford air conditioning repair, and when their electricity bill goes up 5, 7, 10%, it hits them hard. And so we look at this very closely. I'm extremely familiar with energy costs. So when the Energy Information Administration came out and said, and other stakeholder groups, by the way, that the Clean Power Plan and other EPA regulations will increase electricity prices for the American people, and let me add, based on my experience of 34 years as an air conditioning contractor and watching power very carefully, it's going to disproportionately impact low-income families. Do you agree with that?
We're working very hard to give the states the flexibility to not have that happen.
Have you ever been in the homes of low-income people when they've had to spend money on an air conditioner that was inefficient?
Yes.
It's kind of sad, isn't it?
Well, what we're hoping is that this will not only protect them and their public health.
Let me
but
move
their
on.
electricity
Let me move on.
affordable.
I'm running out of time.
Okay.
In fact, I'm out of time.
The
Mr. Chairman.
gentleman's
I'm going to
time
yield
has
back.
expired. Thank you, Mr. Weber. Now
Too many
the
Texas
gentleman
questions.
from Ohio.